Oh, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this Europa League what?
No,
Poor old Al.
60 minutes.
Yeah, 60 minutes of Al the Gooner and Ben.
This is why Hayden didn't want to come on. He's a Man United fan, isn't he? He's just
Yeah.
realised he was going to get all
And
night
we've got
long.
the man who actually looks like the Man U manager down there, who supports Man U, who refuses to wear his Man U top, despite them doing so. Oh no, they didn't, did they? Anyway, we won't mention the football, will we, Wilco?
No, not at all.
No, we won't. We won't mention that we're European champions as we go over the next 60 minutes, where we're also going to be talking about getting faster this summer. We've got sort of, let's say, 5 things that I want you all to follow. I've also got some sessions for you to do as well. So we're adding a lot of value tonight, probably more than we ever have done, which is good news. So what could possibly go wrong with that? But yes, like I said, we've got Coach Al. Ben's down there crying about losing. And Angie's right-hand man's Wilco's here. Chaps, are we all right?
Very well, mate. Very well.
Yeah, we're ready to go. What's the matter, Al?
Well, you just said it all. We're not going to talk about the football.
No, we won't. We won't mention.
Done well so far.
Yeah, I'm doing really.
I think we might have mentioned it once, but I think we got away with it.
No one noticed.
No one noticed.
No one's commented, so no one's listening. So it doesn't matter.
So anyway, welcome to this very Spursy podcast this week. I do want to give a shout out to sportshoes.com at the front end. If you're a 40 Runs a Running Club affiliated member, you can get 15% off. It's very smart. You just go over, get your URN from the club. You get a little account with Sports Shoes. It's very clever. It takes all the money off of your purchases. So that's worth doing. If you are joining us live, please get your questions, get your comments in. As I said, we're talking about getting faster tonight. And there is a reason for that. And actually, the reason I'll tell you now, I did a live stream on Monday. I do a live stream on Monday, which is more like sort of coaching questions, shoes, and all that sort of stuff. And I must have had about 4 questions about getting faster, running 10Ks, running 5Ks, and all this sort of stuff. And it is, to be fair, that time of year where I had some calls with some clients today, and they were like, I might go and have a go at a park run and that sort of stuff. Wilco, is that Hayden ringing you about your shirt? No, he's on mute now. Look. But yeah, no. So people are asking about it. Look at Wilco, trying to navigate the phone with his headphones on.
Am I getting sacked? He's my agent, you know. Yeah,
you need to watch this part back if you're listening to this as you're running along. How Wilco navigates this whole section with his glasses and his headphones. You right, Wilco? He's still on mute. Brilliant. But yeah, so people are interested.
I'm back
now. So getting faster, 5K, 10K, whatever. Doing a bit of work now can obviously help you later on in the year. So that's what we're going to have a little bit more focus on tonight. As I said, we've got some sessions to give you as well. But also sort of 5 things that if you follow, I think that may help you. Oh, yeah, Beth's on next week. Beth's in the comments. She's on with us next week. So we've got her here next week. So that'd be pretty cool. And then the following week, guys, is Global Running Day on Wednesday, the 4th of June. And I think we've told everyone, but we've basically hired a pub, which I think is genius. So we're going to go do a long run show live at a pub. And I don't think that can be beaten. I just love to see the fact that we're live in a pub is even better. So we're going to record that and then live, and then we're going to put that out on Friday. The audio, I guarantee you, will be absolutely shocking. But we will try and find some value somewhere in there. But you're all welcome to come along. It's in Surbiton, which is somewhere. And Haynes told me it's a train from London, apparently. So I don't really know where it is. But it's in Surbiton. It's called the... anyone know?
No.
We'll find that in a minute. It's called the Pub, and it's in Surbiton. That narrows it down. And we're going to be coming along there, and we're going to be going for a run, and then we're going to go and cause havoc in the pub, which I think is brilliant. It's a genius idea. So that's that. I did want to talk about, boys, at the front end, if it's okay. Firstly, because Wilco, you was there volunteering. Al, you weren't there, but I do want to talk to you about still. Feelings about Hackney?
Well, I had a great day. It was really good. Yeah. Really enjoyed doing.
You was.
We were. There was a group of 40. This was about 20 of us. A lot of the London group. A few of us from Boxbourne and a few others. We did one of the water stations. We were involved with the team there. There was about 50 of us in all, and we had to fill 24,000 cups of water, which was quite a long task. It was a 4:30
Yeah, it was amazing. Again, we loved the old volunteers. Ben, how did you find Hackney running? I know you ran slow this time, but how did you find it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love running Hackney. I think the crowds were always great. It wasn't too hot, which was quite nice. There was a little bit between like miles 7.5 and just over like 8 miles where I ran into someone who then, a bit irritating, but I got away from him in the end. So yeah, was all good.
When you say irritating, in what regards?
Disruptive, let's say.
Disruptive. Okay.
Mate, I was, I was kind of running quite light and then suddenly drenched.
It started raining, did it? Did it start raining?
It did. As I was giving everyone hugs, so the water station suddenly, if
you've want to know what Ben's talking about, just watch the video on Sunday. Comes out at midnight. You're welcome. But you had a good run, didn't you? You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I loved it. Hackney's great. I think it was nice. I ran with Chris from Hertford, so we had a chatty run round, and just a nice way to spend.
They had 25,000 people there.
Doesn't surprise me. It was busy, wasn't it?
But I have to say, full credit to them. I think they managed the start waves better this year. So what they were doing now, have you run Hackney Half?
Yeah, I did it in 22 as a pacer. So
this year they set off a wave for 4 minutes, then they held them for 2, and then they set them off again. It was quite good the way they controlled the flow apparently. In terms of
it was spread it out at the start.
Yeah, because you go down, you turn right, and it's tight there, and you've got a lot of like where you're half and half on the course, I would say. So so a lot of people to get through. I think they managed it brilliantly, to be honest with you. So yeah, fair play to them. But I never realised how hilly it was. It was
deceptive, isn't it?
It was more hilly than I did Leeds the week before, and it was more hilly than I ever remember. I think it's because usually we've gone there and taken it easy because of the heat and all that sort of stuff. You don't really pay much attention, but when you're leaning on it a little bit, I was just trying to calm Hayden down. He wanted to try and run a PB, but I said no, it's not the day for him. But it's more hilly than I ever remember. So yeah, they've not changed the course as far as I'm aware. But it's
the same course. It is just you just don't notice the hills when it's so hot. I think because you backed off, right?
Yeah, exactly. A bit like you did. Al, how was Stalk?
Stalk was all it lived up to its reputation as being one of the best kind of family-based races in this part. When I say this part, in kind of Essex, Hertfordshire, kind of Suffolk area. I think we managed about 20 Fordies to get down. Then, given that we had Hackney Half and Colchester Stampede, they're competing with some big races. The thing about the race is everyone loves it, but everyone hates the actual run. It's such a good festival feel, and you've got plumbed-in toilets because you're at Camisall Fruit Farm, and they do put on a really good kind of effort with catering, pizza, beers, music. So they encourage you to stay and make use of the facilities, and that really works because people really get into it. It's just that balls achy bit of running for 5 miles round farms. So it was a bit lumpy and bumpy in places because the ground was a little hard. But if you don't worry too much about the run, it's a great day. And we had a great time. And more importantly, the race director recognised how we kind of lift an event because he's offered the club a discount for next year.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
He has noticed over a couple of years, what we bring to that event in terms of that community. So we're waiting eagerly on that email to see what the discount will be for people. And obviously we'll post that out and encourage people to sign up.
Yeah,
it's essentially a trail run rather than a Hackney Marshes run.
Yeah. And you know what? We had a nice email this week from Clapham Park Run. They were asked us if we were coming back because we were there last July. Yeah. And I appreciate, we got, firstly, it's in obviously middle of London. And a lot of people did it last year and things like that. But at the same time, we've also got a lot of you guys going out to Dublin. And so there's some other things going on. But we put that out and it still looks like, a decent amount of people going along to Clapham Park Run on July the 6th. I might have that wrong. 6th or 7th.
It's that weekend.
Yeah, it's that weekend, but that's going to be a cracker as well. But again, our same sort of feedback. Like, it's great if we could get you guys along. So that's a big compliment to everybody who's involved.
Yeah,
in
so
the
obviously
club.
the shirts and the kit, stands out visually.
Mm.
But I think it's more than that. I think that they see how much fun we get from being around each other and how we support. The comment was, this was the best finish line they've ever seen, because all of us, as soon as we finished, got our T-shirt, got our medals, back out to the finish and cheer everyone back over the line.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
And it's evident that that's what the community and this is what the club is about. So we sometimes we get criticised for standing out for all the wrong reasons, but most of the time it's making a positive impact.
Yeah, mate, you're right on that. And don't get me wrong, I've had some calls this week with some big organisations, and it's being seen everywhere. So, big congrats to everybody within the club and the community. We are genuinely making a difference. So, people, if you're joining us a little bit later, we are going to be talking about getting faster. 10k, 5k. I've got couple of little sessions that I wrote down for you as well that you might want to make a note of. But there's like sort of 5 or 6 things that I feel like that may help. Interestingly, though, but I want to start off with. So this is a bit of a contentious point. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, no, and I read this on Instagram on the train on the way home. There's a runners, I think it's Runners World or something like that, and there's a Runners World, and I don't know who wrote the. Let's just before I give it some context, before I start getting myself into Wilco, before we get the legal team involved.
Oh, that's right. I'm sure you'll be fine, mate. Don't worry about it.
Hang on. Let me just check who else wrote it, because I don't want to get the wrong thing, because we will get shot. Where is it?
I think I know where he's going.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Al?
I think so. Obviously, I don't know because we haven't spoken about it, but I think I see the same one. But yeah, carry on.
The one about the people filming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've just seen the picture. I've not read it. I don't know what it says.
I don't know who wrote it. I don't know. I think it is Runners World, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. Well, it was featured on one of their social media posts. So whether it's come from their magazine or whether they've lifted it from somewhere else.
Yeah, it's currently trending. Let's say. Yeah. And that's why I picked up on it, obviously, because it was in my feed. Ben, have you seen the article we're talking about?
I haven't, no.
Right, so that's probably because you're on other apps.
Wow.
Much else up this weekend. So get back on. So it was quite contentious, and I thought it was quite interesting at this point, because obviously I am somebody who films races. Al's the same as well. He takes it out there and films some races. Obviously, Hayden does. So the article is basically saying that there should be a new purge on influencers who are going out there and filming themselves, and they're not. I wouldn't say that they're picking more on the people who are doing this mile by mile thing that's become sort of trending as well on TikTok. I think where you hold up your phone, you go, oh, mile 1, mile 2, and doing all that stuff. And I think also they are going into people who are used to selfie sticks and all that sort of stuff. And again, I am somebody who does that, so I'm well open to criticism here, and I'm happy to take that on board. But I think it was an interesting. Obviously, everyone went 2-footed on Matt Joy straight away in the comments. Everyone went because of what he did, and he's obviously apologised for that, right? But Wilco and Ben,
is it worth explaining what he did? Because some of the listeners may not have.
Okay, yeah, go on now.
So, was it Boston, or did he do it at New
York? It was a New York City Marathon, and he was running with the founder and a coach of Runner. Who's obviously since distanced himself from that, but he apparently was fully aware of what Matt Joy was going to do.
It was taking the bike out, wasn't it, on the course to film whilst he was running. I think that was the bit that tipped it over the edge.
He had an e-bike camera guy with him, and I say Matt was running with the guy from Runner, and they were filming it, and rightly so. It's just the most stupid thing you could ever do. But again, he's turned around and said, "Yeah, I know it's stupid, and I apologise."
And he's been banned, hasn't he?
And he's been banned. So,
banned him for life.
Everybody, we all make mistakes. Okay, in life, we all make mistakes, yeah. But yeah, I think the article is going in on people filming stuff, and I kind of get it, to be honest with you. Even though this is like pot kettle, but I kind of get it, and I appreciate that it can be annoying, and I appreciate that it can impact people in a negative way. There's obviously the positive side of things that we're trying to do it. We're doing it because firstly we enjoy doing it, which I think Al in particular, enjoy doing that side of things. It's a creative output for you, and also we're trying to show off like the best side of running, agree, disagree. Again, happy to hear comments. There's no wrong or right answer here. Ben, in terms of, because you run with me, right, a lot, and obviously I've got the camera and I'm mucking about. Please be honest here. Would you say that I impact people around me, and I want you to be totally honest here. I know you're my mate, but please be totally honest. Do you feel like that when I'm I don't know because I'm not seeing what I'm doing. Do I need to be more spatially aware, or am I okay? Would you say?
Genuinely, and I'm not saying this because
No, please be
you're
straight.
my mate,
You've got to be straight. I'll tell you.
I'll try as hard as I can with that one. But genuinely, I think you guys, and I've run with Hayden as well in Prague, and I genuinely think you're very conscious of the kind of space around you, and you do know, like you do notice that. Like we ran London together, and there wasn't any points where I was like, "Why are you filming right now?" And you do see it with. There's occasions when you'll see it more so. I think when people are filming with their phones, that they kind of get lost in they're kind of fiddling around with their phone and just kind of doing that you tend to see. Like Wilco, do you remember when we were in Ibiza and I was trying to take a picture as we were running and almost tripped over a bollard and stuff like that. I am not for filming whilst running, clearly, but I genuinely think because you guys are doing it on like with the self-sitting on a camera, I've never seen where I just thought you're getting in the way or irritating, kind of spatially invading people.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very conscious of it because I don't want to be unsafe or anything like that. And obviously, again, I'll make mistakes. There's sometimes, but I know when I am filming, unless I'm putting the camera over people coming the other way. But again, I will move over to the left and make sure I've got space in front of me. I'm not an idiot.
But then you've been doing this for a little while, mate. You've been able to. I'm sure you've been able to sort of like base things on your experience, and what things work, where you're going to get in the way of people and stuff like that. And it's not something that I have. I'd like to say that. I think it's Big Ben said, that the videos that you, Al, and Hayden do put out races are great for the race, and they really help the race stakes. It's great. Like whenever I book a race, the first thing I do is I go on YouTube and I think, oh, this bloke's filmed it. What does it look like? Stuff like that. In fact, I got into the whole 40 thing because I joined the Great North Running Group, and it was like, oh, this bloke's filmed it. Oh, he lives in Boxbourne. That was my first experience, like watching these sort of films. I think, it's so difficult to police, isn't it? That's the trouble. And people, like everything, the responsible people are not going to be the problem. And it's just that if people are aware of like the etiquette of it all, a bit like in exactly the same way as if you're in a race and you need to start walking or slow down, you don't just stop in the middle of the road.
I tell someone.
Or if you move to the left to allow people to go to the right, just sort of like general rules. If there is sort of like, if Runners World are highlighting this and it's an issue, then I haven't read the article, so I don't know.
No, okay.
Maybe they could highlight or offer some suggestions to people of if you're doing a race and you want to film yourself, we've all got cameras, we've all got videos, we all take our phones out. Maybe you want to think about this, like 5 pointers that you want to think about when you're filming in a race that will enhance the content and the experience that you'll have, and it also won't be to the detriment of anybody else that you're running with.
I was thinking about this. What I actually thought of, I think YouTubers, let's call it. I think there's a system in which you can get accreditation for media. I think somebody who, and it may be at the world majors, I don't know whether, or like on that sort of level, maybe to make sure that stuff's being on those sort of busy big events, things like that. Maybe one way is that you have to
be accredited. I mean,
you have to be accredited because then you can prove that. I don't know whether they'd look at the stuff you've done. I've got no idea. But I'm just trying to think because I totally understand both sides of the argument because I see people who are just morons, right? I had a go at a girl. No, that's the wrong way to say it. I didn't have a go at her. we was doing a really busy event, and she's trying to get something for a CBD oil brand that she was wearing. She was trying to get something, and she was actually causing a menace because she kept stopping in that lot. And I was just like, what are you doing? Sort of thing. Again, this is me, yeah. But I had my like sort of health and safety coach's hat on. That side of things, that really irritates me. And I do see certain influencers, and I totally understand why people are sick and tired of them, you know, and all that stuff, because I'm sick and tired of it as well. Again, pot kettle, I appreciate it, right? But I'm just wondering if there's like ban it.
Well, but
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
You can't police these things. I mean, like accreditation and things like that. I mean, 20 years ago, anybody with the internet, like in my sort of like field, like with work, anybody could claim to work for a website and turn up at a football match and start writing about it and sit in the press box and things like that. Whereas the authorities cottoned onto this, and then you have to have a license. You have to have a pass to say, I am from an accredited, you know, maybe people have to, but having said that, we've all got phones in our pockets, and we like to, so where do you stop me and Ben at the water stop, or me and Kieran having a beer at mile 12 at the Great North Run? It's like, quick mate, let's have a pick, you know?
Exactly that. And look at with the headphones, right? I'll just kind of say, you know, from that perspective, you've got races where you're not allowed to wear, you can only wear bone conducting headphones, and the amount of people you still see wearing in-ear earphones, and it says if you're caught, you're disqualified, but they're not caught, and they're not, you know, fine. But it's just that, how do you enforce these things? And there is, you know, Peter said it, it's the lack of spatial awareness, and that's the irritating thing with it is, do you know what? Turn up, do what you want on race day, just don't pee anyone else. Yeah, don't pee anyone else off, and don't cause. It's that health and safety risk that if I'm having to swerve to avoid you and put in, you know, if I get injured from that, you know, that's
what I mean. And
and also, I feel bad. You know, also if you're not comfortable with a situation where somebody's pissing about their phone and doing stuff and trying to filter the thing, put a spurt on and get past them, or just stand back, or just get out of their way and just enjoy the rest of your race.
Yeah, Al, where are you on this?
Well, there's two elements. No, let me rephrase that. We've talked a lot about the enforcement issue and the mobile phones, and I think the problem is if you ban it, and the way technology develops, the next bit of kit will come out, and you know it'll all be happening again, and you'll be thinking about if it's not phones, it's this, that, and the other. You know, you've got the drones that can.
I'll tell you a story about that
and all that stuff. So
I'll tell you a story about that.
All right, okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
For me, I do most of my filming now at park runs. And I don't know if that makes it worse in some respects, because clearly that's a much more community orientated activity. But I try and be respectful, like Wilco said, and like Ben said, in terms of having the etiquette. So I've had occasions when people have said, please don't film me. So I don't, you know, you flick the camera around and you start taking other shots. I also try and be respectful in the editing. So running with, you know, youngsters and young children. So try wherever possible to edit that out. So you're not creating those kind of issues. And when people engage with me at the end, quite often, if there's a bit of interest about, where you're going to post it, you know, what's your YouTube, I will go and ask the RD of the day saying, look, you know, is it all right if I send you the video, and let them make a decision about whether they share the content? Because I think, you know, Wilco said, lots of people use it as research, rightly or wrongly, whether it's good or bad or indifferent.
YouTube's a search engine.
So, you know, people go out and go, there's a new park run. This guy's run it. This girl's run it. Let's have a look. You know, they might take something from it that will help them on the day, or if it just eases their anxiety because they know where to park, they know where the toilet is.
Yeah, exactly.
I know how many laps it is. I only filmed the 3 lappers, so that way I've got memory of where I'm going on laps 2 and 3. Otherwise I forget. So, yeah, it is a tricky one. And as you said, I do it for enjoyment.
Yeah.
Hope I'm not causing anyone any irritation. No. But if anyone was to ask me, yeah, I'd hopefully respect them and stop and do it differently if they said, please don't. So
on the drone story, right? When Ben and I were at Blackheath this year, do you remember the story, Ben, with the geezer? When we was walking back from the baggage buses, there was a dude.
Oh yes, I remember.
And he was your typical Gen Z I've just done a Hyrox come to run a marathon with his partner, you're probably getting the right picture in your head.
That's not
Yes.
Tony and Lloyd we're talking about, please.
No.
Not Tony and Lloyd. All right.
He said Gen Z. Just saying.
Oh,
It was-
okay. Yeah.
He was definitely in that unfortunate sort of thing that's out there at the moment, you know, in terms of what he was wearing. But anyway, he was on his phone, and I looked up, and the moron that he was had a DJI drone above his head, and he was filming in Blackheath. And I looked up and I said to him, "You know that's a power cable, don't you?" Huh? What? And I said, "Yeah, that's the electricity to, that's all that over there." Huh? I went, "Yeah, and by the way, you're not allowed to fly that around busy like areas, like where there's like 10,000 people are in this corral." Huh? And I was just like, "Are you for real?" And I carried on walking. I just shook my head. The fact that he's so thick that he's bought a drone in, because he won't have had a license. He wouldn't have gone and registered it on the website that you're meant, where you're meant to put it. He wouldn't have had his operator number on there. He wouldn't have done all of that. He wouldn't have read the rules about flying it in in big crowded areas. He wouldn't have read any of those rules. He was just all about getting the content. And I just honestly, and that's the worry that you're going to see. You know, you're going to see these people running. That be the next thing. So it doesn't. We all say to, "Oh yes, but a lot of people are really thick, and all they want to do is get clicks, or whoever just said it, you know, and likes, and grow their social media and all this sort of stuff. And that, unfortunately, is gonna end in tears. And I do agree with some of the stuff that was said about it, to be honest with you, and I'm even more conscious about it now. So I was trying to think to myself, God blimey, I hope I've not done that to anyone myself, because I'd hate that. Do you know what I mean? I'm always trying to keep the camera tight to me, and if I go over the crowd, then I'll make sure I'm right on the left. I've got no one behind me, in front of me, definitely, because when I'm bringing the camera in, I'll make sure there's a really good gap before I do that, and all that kind of stuff. But even that, I'm still now worried about it, because I'd hate that. And you know what? If the big majors turn around and said no filming, I'd respect that massively. You know what I mean? In terms of like on GoPros. But I wish there would then be a route for, like, as I said to you, media accreditation, because we are out there. And as you say, we are hopefully bringing that experience to different platforms where people can, again, whether it's to calm anxiety about race day, you know, like if you think about it, what they did at Brighton in terms of, you know, with me and my autism, in terms of checking out the place beforehand, you know, that sort of stuff does help people, genuinely does help people to understand.
And also, they like people to do it to boost the profile of the event, the organisers themselves, don't they?
Well, yeah, exactly. And again, you know, get that article, if you go on the comments of that Instagram post, you'll see everybody goes 2-footed on the influencers getting race bibs and all this sort of stuff. Again, yeah, just remember it's the brands or companies that are giving those out. Yeah. So it's that always that thing is, can you really blame that person if they're being offered a Boston bib? Not really, because everybody would take it, right?
Exactly.
Those bibs have been around for years. Sponsor bibs for the London Marathon have been around since the London Marathon. Yeah, these situations, only because now you see normal people being given those opportunities because they've got a following, that you're made aware of it. And yes, I appreciate that a lot of those people have turned into sort of obnoxious pricks. There's a lot of them out there, right? Who all should be like absolutely taken into a room and shouted at, because they've got, again, no spatial awareness. They're just downright rude, and they're just basically obnoxious. But there's some really good people out there. Look at Ben Parks, for example. Absolute gem. Yeah, it runs along. He's been filming the London Marathon for donkey's years. I don't think he's, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think he's ever upset anybody. God, it'd be very hard for Ben Parks to upset anyone. He's just a nice guy. He's managed it. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, he's done it the right way. Ben Felton's done it the right way. You know, he's a nice guy, doesn't impact people in any way, you know. So I think it can be done the right way. It's just obviously you always hear about the Matt Choys of this world. Again, Matt's apologised, okay? So, you know, we all make mistakes. But yeah, it's a funny old one, isn't it? And I can see why it's trending. Because it's always, what's the next thing to sort of moan about and have a go at people like getting on in life? It's that sort of thing, isn't it, really?
Is that the irony that's trending on social media about people
That's what I mean. And
filming to promote social media?
yeah,
It's just the world we live in, mate. Isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
It is. But again, again, I was interested to get the feedback because I was like, oh shit, I hope I haven't upset anyone. That's why I genuinely wanted to ask you guys if you feel. And again, please,
What's the email address to send the complaints to, Wilco?
if you could send an email to haydenharbord@gmail.com.hq, whatever he is, I don't know what his email address is, but send them there. Any complaints to haydenharbord@gmail.com, and he will just delete them and ignore them. So there you go. Right. Okay, team. Getting faster. Now, Ben, this is something you need to do after your absolute poor showing at the Hackney Half.
I need a coach.
Yeah, you do need a coach. Wilco, is this something you're working on currently, getting faster?
Yes, it will be, because I'm taking a sabbatical from marathons until the spring. So this is something to concentrate on, and I would like to get in a position where I am back, as I was 2 years ago, comfortably doing sub-2 half marathons. So that would obviously have a bounce-on effect on my sort of like 10Ks. Well, I've got lots. All the London 10Ks are coming up as well,
yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah.
So, and I've entered most of them. So, yeah.
Are you doing the Vitality 10K?
Yes, very much so. With a lot of, it's going to be a really big event actually for us. My Brogspawn satellite, because I've got lots of newbies who are doing their first one, and it's going to be great.
On a serious point, have you got loads of newbies who are doing it?
Very much so.
I genuinely need to talk to you about it. I had a call this week that nobody knows about, and it's big. I seriously need to talk to you about that. Thank you.
Cool.
I'm genuine. Can you message me after?
Yeah,
trying to get faster?
Well, I've been specialising for the last 2 years and focusing on getting a lot slower, and that's been very successful.
That's
I
brilliant.
don't want to kind of buck the trend, but I suppose I should have a look at this getting faster business because, it seems to be the way to go. And you're right, it is going into the season of shorter, snappier races. Long and slow is not for me then, perhaps for the next 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we do that, Wilco, I want to just quickly touch on it because you and I had a chat about it on Tuesday where we was absolutely destroying those trails.
Smashing it
to bits. How's your weight loss program going?
Good. I've done half a stone in 3 weeks.
Wow.
I'm really
Tell
pleased.
the viewers how you've done it.
I am trying. Well, I've cut out all the rubbish for a start. So, one of the benefits of living on my own is that if it's not in the flat, then I'm not going to eat it. So there's not a biscuit in the house, and there's not a crisp or anything like that. I'm just eating healthier, and I'm eating within a sort of like an 8-hour window between about 10 o'clock in the morning till about 6 o'clock at night. That's ticking along all right. It's something that I need to do, and it's something that's sort of like worked in the past before, because obviously, there's so much diet advice and things like that out there. It's really everybody's got their own theory about what you should be doing and stuff like that. And like everything, you sort of like mash it all up together and draw your own conclusions. But it seems to be going all right at the moment. Just trying to be sensible and not panicking, not going for a fad, not going to looking for. I thought them days are gone. But I don't want to just sort of like crash it and then put it back on again. I just want to maintain it and tick it out, be patient, see where we are, get to sort of September or somewhere and see where we're at.
I'll tell you who made me laugh this week. Do you remember Mulligan's Fitness who we had on here?
Oh, very much so.
He put an Instagram reel out this week. I was wetting myself. He basically hammered everybody who's been giving out advice. But the way he does it, in terms of the language is a bit choice, by the way. I'll just give you a free warning.
choice.
So, being on a submarine, I guess. But it's like, it was brilliant. The way he's so good at delivering, like, just pure advice on losing weight. He's an absolute hero. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and look up Mulligan's Fitness. He's we've had him on the podcast. I love the guys. He's downright hilarious, but he also knows what he's talking about. Actually, we should get him back on because he's such good value to have on. He really is. Mark's got an interesting comment before we move on to it. Great to improve, but runners do get obsessed about times. Do you get obsessed about times, Ben? You didn't on Sunday, clearly, but do you get obsessed about times?
I think I have targets. I don't know that I'd say I get obsessed about times.
Okay.
Like it's, Sunday, I could easily have gone, oh my God, I need to get under the 1 hour 30. And actually it was, we rarely looked at what, we just went out and kind of ran, and it was, so there's certain races that I target, put it that way, but the rest of it all comes together.
So you wouldn't say you're obsessed about times?
No, I don't think so.
Wilco?
No, not really. I like to be sort of like, I like the way that a time feels. If I run a race, say like if I do a half marathon in say 2 hours 10 minutes, and I'm really flagging, then I know that then I'm disappointed. But then if I've done it and I felt comfortable, then it gives me a boost. Or like your park run's a great example of that. I did a park run. I did my fastest park run for 11 months last Sunday, just by knuckling down and just giving it a go. And I came out and I thought, God, I feel great. I wasn't hanging, so it's great.
I used to, not going to lie, early in my running career, I was totally obsessed. And I think looking back on it, it's because it's the easiest way of benchmarking your progress. If you haven't got a coach, you haven't kind of, steeped yourself in all the science of relative effort and heart rate and everything else, just seeing the numbers go down is quite easy to kind of go, well, I must be getting better. And I think for new runners, you're going to see that level of improvement just because you've got such a window kind of to do it. And so it's easy to get into that trap of just assuming the numbers are telling you the whole story. But Wilco's touched on it in terms of there's other ways of evaluating whether you've had a good run or a bad run. And I think if you're able to, and you are kind of planning, 16 or 18 weeks training, you've got to step back away from that obsession of going, every run's got to be a little bit better, because that's not how you put together a successful plan. We know that.
I would rather keep an eye. The way that I gauge my progress, like without the times, is I keep an eye on my RE numbers on my Strava. So, like, if I look at one of my regular routes, like my 4 mile regular route that I just do up and down the river, sort of like once a week, and I say, well, I did that time, sort of like 8 weeks ago.
RE, for those who don't know.
Oh, I'd forgotten it. Just went
relative
down
effort.
Yeah. Relative effort. No, so like if I'm sort of like, oh right, well I did that run in that time 6 weeks ago, and my relative effort was 38, and today I've done it and my relative effort's 24. Then I know I'm getting better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny. It's funny Mark mentioned it, right? Because I overheard a conversation today. It's not the first conversation I've overheard, and it was between two guys, and it was like, who's got the biggest thing? And they were talking, Ben. They were talking about who is it? They were talking about I've got half marathon coming up, and I'm just going to go out there, and I'm probably going to go like doing 30 minutes or something like that. Nice, easy, steady run. But I'm probably then going to go and do like, I don't know, 27 minutes at so-and-so. And then his mate put, oh, yeah. And it was just like bang, bang, bang. But all about times, all about distance, all about this, all about that. And it's not the first time I've heard that. Again, slightly different generation, I would say, to what you've got here. And again, I'm not hammering that because I think they're brilliant, the fact that they're coming through. All right. So let me just circle that off and put that over there. Right. I'm not having to go at anybody. But it was an interesting, again, conversation that I keep hearing about this obsession, like you say, about times. And yeah, I would say that most runners, without labeling people, just there, probably are. If deep down, they probably are. I think here, Mark, you're preaching to the converted already, because you've got a group of chaps here who aren't. Like Ben just brilliantly said, he looks at a target. But again, he's coached, so we're looking for targets throughout a season, throughout a period of time, or even further, to which we're working towards. So we're not obsessed with the times, we're obsessed with the target. Okay, you may say that's the time, but it could be to run that marathon without walking, to run that half, in a certain way, or whatever, right? So yeah, again, and we as a collective group here, sorry to talk for you guys, we don't take our running that seriously. We enjoy it, but we do it because we enjoy it.
But there is
Yeah.
a bit of a problem though, isn't it? And again, it's not a criticism. I think it's just a reflection
Mm.
that when you get over the finish line and you get back in your group, wherever that is, whether it's a club or whatever, the first conversation is how did you do, and they expect you to respond in context of a time. You know, did you PB? Did you run a certain time? So I try and counter that now by ignoring that bit and referencing it whether I enjoyed it or not. Some races I love. Some races I hate.
I'm with you. Me and you are the
100% now.
same.
Yeah.
It's
And then
really
people
nice.
don't know where to go. They go, well, but how did you do? Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, okay. People, it's really nice. People come up to me now after races. Ben, you've seen it when people come up. Oh, how'd you get on 40? Blah, blah, blah. And I'll always go. I'll always give like quite a simple answer. Oh, I can hate that. Oh, I was absolute pony today, or something like that. But actually, I very rarely give out a time.
Yeah,
and that's not because
people judge you, and they don't know what.
But I'm not doing it because I'm worried about being judged.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I couldn't give a shit about the time.
And also, as you say, the time is relevant. And almost you could say to someone. I said to someone at work the other day. Straight, her first question was, "What time did you do at London?" And I, and I was like, 4 out, 4. She went, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And you're like, "Great." But actually,
by the way, my PB's 256.
but you're like, it wasn't about that. When everyone else has said, "How did you do at London?" Straight away, I've changed that narrative now. I loved it. I think Chris, you said, "Oh, how'd you get on at Hackney?" And I was like, "We had a great day out." Because that is what it's about.
I actually asked you, I think, and then I pushed you for your time only because I wanted to know as your coach. But I pushed you for a time. You didn't you didn't give that readily available because I don't think that's the way we think.
It's changed my mental. I certainly think over the last kind of year and a bit, my mentality's changed now too. I think where I've gone tough with some races, I think I lost the love a bit last year, and this year was all about getting that love back. So I rarely, I finish, and it's.
Do you think though, Ben? Do you think that's as a response of
peaking?
Achieving? No, achieving sort of landmark. Sort of like, because I'm sure that getting sub-3 would have been a big deal before you did it.
Yeah, 100%.
and you would have certainly been concentrating on times around them because you would have been completely geared towards that. But now you've done that. Do you think now? I mean, I had a very similar thing when I it took me a long time to. Well, put it on different. It took me ages to break 30 minutes for a park run. About 2 years. I was 30 this, 30 that. And then lockdown came and I just did a bit more training of that. And then suddenly it clicked.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't always. I used to go to park run and like, oh God, I've got held up in the first 30 seconds. That's it. I'm not going to do it this week and things like that. But when you achieve those landmark times, I think that has an effect on
it takes a pressure.
How obsessed you are about the numbers on your watch.
Yeah, I'd agree there. I think, and that's a really good point to Martin, is you can get obsessed. If you set yourself that target, you can get obsessed by getting to that target and depending what it looks like.
Also, you see, this is why I don't want to be obsessed when I'm doing races about doing particular times, because I don't want the whole day to be judged on hours, minutes, and seconds.
Yeah, that's
I hear so many stories about people who are sort of like, oh yeah, I was going to do 4:30, but what a waste of time! I did 4:32.
And in real time,
you had a great time.
That difference. Yeah, you take your 30-minute park run. If you run 29:57, you've had a great day. You've hit your targets. If you run 30 minutes and 3 seconds, you're disappointed. But if you watch both those runs back in real time, you probably couldn't tell the difference which one was which, because it's so minuscule difference. And yet we hang all the judgment about whether we've had a good day, good race, bad race on an artificial construct called time.
It's not worth it.
It's getting philosophical. Quite like
it's
it.
Quite good. And the best thing is we haven't actually given any advice on how to get faster in this How to Get Faster episode.
Come back next week.
Yeah. Alex has just said, as a new runner, started park run, blah, blah, blah. Dropping 6 minutes is great, but now I feel I've plateaued. Need next steps. Alex, drop me an email, hello@40runs.com. We can help you out with some coaching. You're welcome. That's what you need. It's the classic one. First thing I get, most clients, I've plateaued in my running. give us a shout.
They should listen to Wilco. He's inspirational when it comes to plateau and peaking.
Yeah, he's very good at picking out when people have peaked in their running. Okay,
I'll be
right.
One day it'll come true.
He's like Anthony.
Yeah. I always get the pacing right in the second season, mate.
No, Wilco, we're not allowed to mention
43 minutes you've done without doing that. I'm very
We're not allowed
impressed.
to mention that we're European champions. We're not allowed to mention that we won some silverware. We're not allowed to mention that we're in the Champions League, even though we finished 17th, okay? And Arsenal didn't win anything. We're not allowed, or Man U, we're not allowed to mention that, Wilco.
Okay,
right,
sorry.
getting faster. Now, actually, to be honest with you, this was the easiest, when we do these pods, right, and I put some of this together, this was the easiest thing I've ever done because it's the same old stuff. This is none of this is rocket science, okay, people? So for the next 15 minutes, we're going to give you 5 things, yeah, that are going to help. And if you do them, you will get faster, okay? These are proven things. Firstly, incorporate interval training. Al, you knew that was coming. Yeah. Why does interval training work?
It's about conditioning your brain as much as anything else to understand what it takes to run faster. Yeah, it sounds stupid as a response, but if you don't run faster, your body can't process what relative effort, what heart rate, what all the conditions your body has to go through to hit a higher speed. And it's a way of introducing that speed gradually.
Build speed, yeah.
Yeah, it's to do it in short spurts, in bursts. And, you know, if you're doing intervals over a program, you know, as you'll be coaching, Chris, those intervals will get longer, the recovery time will get shorter, and you will see that you're maintaining speed, however you define that, better.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously improving lactate threshold, all that sort of stuff. Anybody who's listening live, get a pencil now. Go and get it. And if you're listening to this as a pod, you may want to listen back to this because I'm just going to give you 2 very quick sessions. Write these down. Again, we're trying to add value here. So the first one, Wilco's going to write this down. 5K, Wilco. Prove your 5K time. It's a good session to do. Try 8, but try 6 to start with, by 400 meters at faster than race pace. Okay? So, faster than race pace, I'm talking like 5K pace. All right? So whatever you'd run, if you're going to go and try and run a PR at Park Run, although we're not obsessed with times, but do 6 times 400 meters, but you need 1 minute rest, okay, for 5K.
Now, would you have 1 minute rest, sort of like stationary rest, or would you sort of like do a walk, or
if you've absolutely blasted it,
you'll be knackered. Yeah, you won't be out there.
So again, it's 5K focus, all right. Again, and try and build up to 8, right? The next one, 10K focus, yeah? 10K focus. Arthur, come and join me on a Monday night and ask that question live at 8 o'clock. I'll answer your question, okay, about shoes. Come to the Monday live stream, talk about shoes. 10K focus. So again, similar sort of thing, 5 to 6 times, but 1,000 meters. But at 10K pace, yeah? With about minute and a half, 2 minute rest. So did you get that, Wilco?
I've got it, mate. It's all
5 to 6 by 1,000 meters, yeah. But at 10K pace. So whatever you'd go out and try and run a 10K PB, all right? But give yourself about a minute and a half, 2 minutes rest. Rest is longer on that. It's a longer effort. The second thing that you need to be doing is add tempo runs in weekly. We all know what a tempo run is, yeah? Yeah, Ben? No? No tempo runs?
Tell us. Help those that might be new to the podcast.
It's a extended harder effort. It's something that you need to try and maintain for longer. So it's a strong pace, but it's something you can maintain for a little bit longer. Lactate threshold, okay?
Quicker than goal pace.
Yeah, it's that element of you're working hard, but it's relatively controllable. Okay. Now that is there to boost endurance. All right. And help you maintain that stronger pace longer in the race by endurance. Okay. They're an absolute killer one to put in threshold runs. Okay. Do a nice warm up. I don't know. 5-10 minutes. Nice steady bit of work. Dynamic movement, something like that. And then run 20 minutes to start with. And then build up to sort of 30 minutes at that threshold pace, followed by like 5 to 10 minute cool down. Okay. So, but you build that threshold element up from 20 to 30. If you can stretch it out a little bit more, great. But ultimately, the main sort of important bit is that sort of, let's call it 30 minutes that you get up to in the middle. You do a really nice tempo pace in there. Okay, that's what I want you to do. Third thing, this is an important one because it's where I'm at, is increase your mileage. There you go. John just said one way to get fast is one more volume. Okay. But the problem is with volume is that to be able to do that, you need to gradually build up to it. Otherwise, you're going to get what Marissa had, which is shin splints. And you're going to get all the other sort of things that we all get because we all run too much, too fast, too soon. Okay. So you always need to build mileage and volume, whatever way you call it, because that's building your aerobic base. Yeah. And it's helping with efficiency. But you need to be doing it gradually. Now, Wilco, you know the rule, right? In terms of building mileage?
10%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, increase it by no more than 10% in an ideal world. I would say if you're somebody who's sort of come out of a training block, you had a few weeks off, you may be able to cope with it a little bit differently. Yeah, so that there is an element of that. But as a rough rule of thumb, okay? Also, the other thing to do is to focus on building that sort of those easy runs, that aerobic work to help increase that mileage. If you can use those runs to build your mileage, then that will help. Yeah, in terms of doing it with the least amount of impact. But volume is key to a lot of this. Okay, if you look at a lot of the faster guys and girls out there, their volume's quite high. So yeah, that's definitely the other thing. The other one that I added on there is that race specific sort of strategies pacing. I think this gets left behind, and this is a great time of year to do this. That's why I've mentioned it. And I actually said to you about the park run. This is a good time now to go out and start playing with strategies because a lot of people, myself included, you go out like an absolute nutter, and you blow up. Right? We've all done it, right? You set a really unrealistic target, or you set a target that's tough, but you go out like a lunatic and you've got no strategy. So start now thinking about race strategies. Now, there is a good workout for this, okay? It's 3 by 1 mile at 10K goal pace. Yeah, with 3-minute jog intervals. Because that will help you pacing, trying to nail your pacing. So again, 3 by 1 mile at goal 10K pace, yeah? With about 2 to 3 minute jog recoveries, yeah? You're focusing in on the pace. You're focusing on sort of dead aiming it and having control of what your output is, because we're all very, very guilty of starting out like a complete nutter and burning out. Ben, you used to do that really
100,
well.
Yeah, 100%. I'd get 7 miles and just be like, okay, I'm done.
But you've changed that. I know you've got like a world famous, probably best in the country coach that's, unbelievable, right? Is it?
Trophy winning.
Trophy, award winning. But yeah, it is something that we've changed, to be fair.
Definitely.
Yeah, in terms of your racecraft and strategy. And also, that's where a coach can help, by the way. Not just on the fundamentals, but even going back to those things of let's do this today, sort of thing. But yeah, Wilco, are you a fast starter?
No, I try and contain myself. But
I'd love to see that.
That's
on
the
this
image,
on this subject, like when I 2 years ago, coming up this autumn, I had a real purple patch of my half marathons. I was banging them out, PBs, sort of like week after week. I was really going well, and it was all because I just thought, right, 2 hours, 9-minute miles. Run mile 1, 9 minutes. Mile 2, 18, 27. 36. Where am I at? 45. Get there for 45. Get there for 54. Before you know it, you get there at, you've done 11 miles, and you're flying, and that really helped. So it don't have to be complicated. You don't have to have beeping things on your watch, stuff like that. You do it in your head. It is. You can contain this sort of thing. It's just sort of like, this is the pace that I want to run, and just try and do it.
Al, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I've got a couple of points. One that links the issue about pacing to intervals, because it's very relevant to what is a good interval session. It's about consistency. So
Absolutely.
if you're like you and you go out and you nail those first two and you're way above your target time for that 400 meters or the kilometer, can you sustain it on interval 6? Can you sustain it on interval 10 as you're building up? And that's a way of learning to kind of get that pacing. You know, it might feel easy on the first one, but it's going to feel hard on the last one, and you want to be consistent. And that's a good interval when you've got that graph looking as flat as it can against the target pace. The other one about the long mileage, you might sit there and think, well, you know, we're trying to learn to run fast. Is there not a danger that I just do junk miles? For me, it's about running the mileage with good form. So use those long runs to think about your form. You know, we'll do that probably naturally when you're doing the faster sprinting, because, you know, the coordination and the timing of everything and the drive contributes to running fast, but so does good form. And that's where you can practice on your longer runs and where you're churning out the miles. Just run with good form, and you know, you're training your brain to do that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
there's something to be done on the long, slower runs that will contribute to your faster running. Good form.
Yeah, good form. Be more efficient, people.
Yeah.
Honestly, that sort of stuff. The last one was obviously, and we've done countless episodes and talked to the cows come over, is the strength and recovery, right? To be honest with you, if you want to get faster, you need to get stronger. Okay. There's obviously I say obviously it's not, but there's the bits about reducing risk of injury and that kind of side. And again, I was talking about full running economy. If you've got a stronger core, kinetic change, yeah, if you're strong there, that's going to only help you get faster. It'll also help promote recovery as well. If you're a bit stronger as well, believe it or not. I would say for anybody, you want to be really looking at 2 weekly strength sessions, but like upper and lower, you know. Don't neglect the plyo. It's really good. On the recovery side, we all know how good sleep is. We don't need to talk about that. We all know how good proper nutrition is, you know, especially post-workout, that sort of thing. The other thing is as well is to make sure that you are getting 1 full day, minimum, 1 full day of rest. Now, because, you know, we're not full-time athletes, we're probably still going to work and doing 20,000 steps and all this sort of stuff, right? But at the end of the day, you do need to have a day where you're not doing, let's say, running or gym work or archery like Hayden was last week. You know, whatever it is, yeah, you do need to make sure that you do prioritize that day of rest as well, as much as the other thing. But honestly, if you want to get stronger, get faster, get stronger. It's not rocket science. Dedicate your time to the gym, and it will work. Ben's testament for that. He was useless a couple of years ago, and we put him into the gym, and now look at him. He's, you know what I mean? It's just that's what it's come down to, people, isn't it? Obviously, other than a really good coach.
Yeah, and just that comment, like John kind of saying he really hates strength and mobility training, it's just not fun. I think find what's fun for you, because there's so many different types of strength and mobility training that you can do. Play around with it. It doesn't just have to be, you know, the kind of same sort of thing. So kind of have a look around, because that, you know, I enjoy mine now, but you know, there are elements that
dare I say it, running hills is a form of strength training.
Oh yeah, massive, Al. Good shout. Good shout. Yeah, that's enough. Actually, 0.6 heels. Crack on. Yeah, it's like it's so good for you. It really is. And even like making like on your long runs, deliberately picking routes that got elevation. I mean, we laugh about it, we joke about it. You know, the fact that I hate hills and all this sort of stuff. But honestly, you know, they're so good for you in terms of just putting that in. You will feel so much stronger for it. Look at Sandyford, Michael Sandyford. I coached him for London. He lives in like Dartmoor, Exeter, or whatever it is, basically where the Marines train. The guy's up and down mountains every week, and then you put him on the flat, and that's why he's, you know, basically a 2:30 marathon runner, because he's doing so much hill work.
And he doesn't do the gym, does he?
But yeah, he does do no. So what would be frightening with him is if he actually did some strength work. But it's like anything, in its balance, in its time. But yeah, honestly, don't neglect the strength stuff, people. That I know we keep banging on about it, but there is a reason why we keep banging on about it. it is really good for you. So I think that's it. We managed somehow, boys, to pull that back from talking about Ben with his camera to actually adding some value there. I think maybe, not sure. Did we add any value, Wilco?
Always.
Did we mention that we're European champions? I don't think we did we?
No.
No,
So,
keep that under your hat.
yeah, don't mention it to anybody that Spurs obviously European champions and Arsenal finished second, but that doesn't mean anything because they didn't win anything. And we finished 17th, if that matters. Did anyone worry about it? I don't think so because we still managed to get Champions League somehow. But anyway, that's it from us this week. We are back. I'm back live Monday. So again, whoever's asking the shoe question, get involved in that. Alex, you need to email hello@40runs.com to get some coaching sorted out. And I think that's probably about it. I'm just looking for the outro because I cocked it up last week. Hero move that was. And we are back hopefully live next Friday where we may have a new game. We may not. Who knows?
Oh.
Ben, take us out.
Bye, boys.